Welcome back.
Yeah, glad to have you.
Yes. While the term burnout has been around since psychologist Herbert Freudenberger, say that fast twice.
Freudenberger.
Right. He authored a formal study and scientific article on the state of burnout in 1974. However, it's not been a formal mental disorder until now because much of the research on burnout focused on causes and associated factors, not always a way to develop specific diagnostic criteria. Linda and Torsten Heinemann, in 2017, a review of literature published in the Journal of Sage Open, say that over the next 4 decades, hundreds of studies appeared on the subject. During that time, they noted burnout was not considered an actual mental disorder, even though it is one of the most widely discussed mental health problems in today's society. There is a stigma in elevating burnout to a disease and giving it a diagnosis. Concerns were raised questioning if researchers could differentiate depression and burnout, causing an obstacle in elevating burnout to a disease. There's fear that the job-related disability could have damaging effects on the economy due to an onslaught of claims. In the most recent edition of International Classification of Diseases, or ICD-11.
That's what I always call it.
ICD-11, it's a lot shorter. The World Health Organization gives guidelines to physicians to diagnose. According to the handbook, after first ruling out adjustment disorder as well as anxiety and mood disorders, doctors can diagnose someone with burnout if they meet the following symptoms. If they have feelings of energy depletion or exhaustion, increased mental distance from one's job or feelings of negativism or cynicism related to one's job, reduced professional efficiency. Diagnosis is limited to work environments and shouldn't be applied to other life situations. Dr. Dror Dorflin believes that including burnout as a diagnosis will ensure accountability for certain working conditions causing injury to the patient's brain and employer responsibility to provide safe working conditions, responsibility to pursue an effective intervention, better focused research, and offer compensation for injury.
That's a very important step forward, I think. Well, 2018 was wet and it's still causing problems. Here we are almost halfway through 2019 and we're still talking about 2018's weather. That's not to say that 2019 hasn't already made some news of its own, but if you think it rained a lot in 2018, you're right, it did. In fact, one observation station in Washington, D.C. had an interesting report. According to their records, only 2 Fridays during the second half of 2018 were sunny and completely rain-free. There was nothing said about Mondays. But the rain was more than just a Friday thing. It was wet all year. According to the weather station at the University of Mary Washington in Fredericksburg, 57.54 inches of rain fell in 2018. How does that compare? The average rainfall is 42 inches. Some weather stations further north and west reported rainfall amounts of over 60 inches. Yes, that's interesting data and all that, but all this water, and 2019 seems to be offering plenty more, is putting a strain on our infrastructure. Every county and city in our viewing region has a storm water management plan. These are carefully devised plans to make sure water has someplace to go. The thing is, these are all being pushed to the very limit. Roads and embankments have been washed out, and as we reported earlier in the year, there have also been sinkholes in the area. Remember our sinkhole report? All caused by erosion and all the extra rainfall. So far this year, unlike last year, we've had a few dry stretches, or as they say in Britain, sunny spells. And local officials, not to mention farmers, building contractors, and landscapers, and little farmers like me, are hoping that's going to continue.
I hope so. At one point, I joked about how our mud was getting dehydrated when we didn't have a rainy day.
Yes, our entire standards are changing. Dehydrated mud.
Right. I've been enjoying some of the sunny days lately on the deck. Well, there's a Class 6 felony on the books in Virginia.
I didn't do it.
I know you didn't, David.
Okay.
You're above reproach.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you're not being blamed. There's a Class 6 felony on the books in Virginia, as well as a felony in all other states. It's one that few have heard about, but it's worth reviewing as we purchase a new or pre-owned vehicle. The felony is called by different names: title jumping, title skipping, title floating, and an open title. This is how you may unwittingly and accidentally fall prey. Person A sells a vehicle to person B. Person B does not transfer ownership of the vehicle at the DMV, holds the title and sells the vehicle to person C. Even if you buy a car today and resell it tomorrow, the vehicle registration must show that you are the owner. The only exception is in the case of death and the next of kin needs to sell the vehicle. When or why should this happen? Some reasons are there are folks that flip cars just like houses. Title jumping allows them to avoid taxes and transfer fees on a car that they don't plan on owning. Sometimes an unlicensed dealer will avoid detection of shady business practices by floating a title from the previous owner in efforts to evade taxes or avoid dealer negligence and warranty claims. Then there are people who just don't know it's illegal. You might ask, well, what's the worst that could happen? Dealers can avoid liability for faulty products and you're stuck with a limit. If you are purchasing from an individual, you may be held liable for liens, taxes, moving violations, and parking tickets, as well as suspicion of crimes committed in the vehicle by the invisible seller that the title skipped. If a car is branded by insurance for being totaled, salvaged, or for flood claims, the title will not indicate such until the title is transferred. You may be getting a first person's crashed or moldy car and not know it until you claim ownership. It won't show up on the title because that step was skipped by jumping the second owner and going straight to you, the third person. What are some clues that someone's attempting to jump a title? The first and most obvious is that the title is not in the seller's name. Other indications may be that the seller's signature is missing. The title has signatures of the buyer and seller, but was never transferred. Or the title was signed before you agree to purchase the vehicle. To protect yourself, you need to be aware, diligent, and empowered. Ask for identification and compare the seller's ID to the title. Run the vehicle identification number, also known as the VIN number, against its life history at vehiclehistory.com. It's a free service. And lastly, feel free to walk away from the seller and refuse if the seller says that they won't agree to, I'll only buy it when it's titled in your name.
I think that's good advice. You got to stand up to people.
Right.
Well, Trolley Tours of Fredericksburg are contracting with the city of Fredericksburg and will provide free 15-minute loop tours on Fridays and Saturdays between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. In other words, on a summer evening, which is the ideal way to see Fredericksburg. The guides with Trolley Tours are fully prepared to answer your questions about Fredericksburg, its history, and the local hotspots. And yes, there are local hotspots.
Yes, there are.
There will be 4 stops for pickups. The 4 stops will be the parking lot at Barton and William Streets, Herkamp Park near the corner of William and Prince Edward Streets, and the Fredericksburg Visitor Center at 706 Caroline Street, and a place I know well, near Carl's Ice Cream at 2200 Princess Anne Street. Danelle Ross, Fredericksburg's Tourism and Services Manager, said that you should have no problem finding parking for your car so you can hitch a ride on the trolley, which allows you to explore downtown. You may find free parking at the former Freelance Star parking lot at William and Barton Streets, the downtown garage at Wolf and Sophia Streets, the VRE parking lot at Frederick and Caroline Streets, right near the railroad, obviously, and the many surface lots along Sophia Street, and the parking lot at the corner of Charles and Amelia Streets. For more information on where to park in downtown Fredericksburg, visit fredericksburgva.gov and follow the Where to Park FXBAG on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's easy to find. Now to Carla Colucci with this weekend's weather. Is it going to be nice weather this weekend, I hope?
Hi, I'm Kerr with CVTV Weekend Weather Update. That's right. I gotta tell you, Fredericksburg, I can't even predict the weather anymore. So I'm gonna make my best guess, but just know at any point it could in fact rain, hail, thunder, lightning, I don't know, even a tornado may be possible. So just be aware of the skies and what may be falling out of them. So Friday, we're looking at mostly sunny skies, highs in the low to mid 80s. Those beautiful skies are going to kind of get cloudy as the afternoon goes on. By the evening, we have about a 40% chance of scattered thunderstorms. It could happen, it could not. On Saturday, we are looking at a wonderful day again. Highs in the mid to upper 80s. We may have some scattered thunder showers in the morning on Saturday. Those thunderstorms should make way to clear skies in the evening on Saturday and a fairly decent evening. Sunday looks like it's going to be the best day out of our weekend. Highs in the mid to upper 80s once again. It may get a little cloudy in the afternoons and make way for those thunderstorms, but that's what happens when it gets super hot and super humid. We get super crazy weather. That's all I've got. I'm Kerr with CVTV Weekend Weather. Make it a great week.